Hey, what's going on, folks? We have a great show for you today. So one of the rappers who used to be in the Fugees was found guilty in a scheme to help China influence the US government. What? Apparently he told jurors Tuesday that he helped a Malaysian tycoon get a photo with President Barack Obama for $20 million. Whoa. And then through that money that he got, people in court were accusing him of using straw donors to funnel illegal donations from low into Obama's campaign. Prosecutors also say he illegally tried to lobby President Donald Trump's administration, and we're going to read all about this wild story. Sheesh. Next, we're going to listen to WNBA player Brittany Griner, the same Brittany Griner that was just caught in Russia for a while, say that she essentially thinks it's a crime to not let biologically born men compete in the WNBA.
I think it's a crime, honestly, to separate someone for any reason. So I definitely will be speaking up against that legislation and those laws that are trying to be passed, for sure.
We're going to listen to that full clip also. Wild stuff. I have a few bonus topics at the end. The Dream Rare podcast for today starts now.
It's the Dream Rare podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's episode of the Dream Rare podcast. There's a few stories, but the first one is about a rapper that was in the Fugees, the Grammy-winning rapper Pras Michael, I don't know how to pronounce his name. But he's been found guilty with some sort of illegal straw donor money funneling scheme that involved the Obama administration and allegedly the Trump administration. Let's get into the story. So I got a few articles. I got Fortune, Today, News Africa, and Associated Press. It's being covered by all news, but I just found a few that got to the point. So let's just read Fortune real quick. Pretty wild stuff. Grammy-winning rapper Pras Michael told jurors Tuesday at his illegal lobbying trial that the party boy Malaysian tycoon Zhou Luo, once a friend and now a fugitive, paid him $20 million to get a photo with President Barack Obama in 2012. Michael told a federal jury in Washington that Luo hired him to be a celebrity surrogate to get the photo. The rapper is accused of using straw donors to funnel illegal donations from Luo into Obama's campaign. Prosecutors say he illegally lobbied President Donald Trump's administration to drop U.S. probes of Luo's alleged looting of $1 billion from a Malaysian development fund, 1MDB. So, according to Fortune, this rapper used his celebrity status to, I guess, get some sort of Malaysian guy who's now a criminal or now a fugitive, a $20 million photo. Sheesh, $20 million? That's how much it costs for an Obama photo. I get like $1 million or $2 million, but I guess when it involves lobbying and donations, people are willing to pay more. It's like, look, my son did a painting. It's worth a lot of money. Do people want the painting or are people paying through the painting? You get what I'm saying? A lot of that sort of stuff going on. You rub my back, I'll rub yours. So let me read Today News Africa. Says Michael also testified that he only tried to help Luo find an attorney in the U.S. and that only told authorities about Chinese dissident Guo Wengui. I don't know if I said that right. Probably not. Guo Wengui. Because he thought he was a criminal. However, prosecutors allege that Michael advocated for the extradition of Wengui on behalf of the Chinese government. The former Fugees member also said the $100 million was for a media business he was starting, and the investment wasn't from Luo. Luo was also charged along with Michael, is believed to be in China. Guo has since been arrested and charged by the Justice Department. So, sheesh, this guy was all over the place. Malaysian party boys, $20 million Obama photos, Chinese dissidents. I mean, this guy was tapped in. I'm going to read Associated Press before the next story because Associated Press covered it a little more thoroughly. They said a Fugees rapper accused in a multi-million-dollar political conspiracy spanning 2 presidencies was convicted Wednesday after a trial that included testimonies ranging from actor Leonardo DiCaprio to former U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions. So apparently DiCaprio was in this. I did see those headlines last week. It was like Leonardo DiCaprio testifies, Fugees. I was like, what the heck is going on? Now I get it. I guess for some reason, DiCaprio and U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions were testifying as well. DiCaprio's probably like, yo, leave me alone. I just want to hang out with like models. Like, I'm not trying to be involved in this. I'm just trying to talk about climate change and hang out with chicks. Back to the article. Pras Mikkel was accused of funneling money from now fugitive Malaysian financier through straw donors to Barack Obama's 2012 re-election campaign, then trying to squelch a Justice Department investigation and influence an extradition case on behalf of China under the Trump administration. Mikkel declined to comment after the verdict, but his attorney said he was extremely disappointed in the outcome. That's the story. I mean, I could go on, but I think if you want to read more, you just pretty much Google it, DuckDuckGo, Bing, whatever. So if you have a better search engine, look up the story, look into it. So this guy was just getting a little too involved in politics and tangling with some foreign people that were getting in trouble. And I guess that's just not something you want to do. $20 million for a photo with Obama. And then using, I guess, his leverage and the money that he was getting from Malaysian and Chinese political people to try to strong arm the Justice Department to get an extradition. This is why I just hang out by myself, folks. I mean, obviously, I'm not like to that level. I'm not doing $20 million Obama photos, but the drama, the controversy, people are getting in trouble. They're beefing. This person's happened. It's like, just leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? That's the last thing I want to do. Is be running around with Malaysian and Chinese dissidents talking to the government. It's like, it's a bold move. Bold move by the Fugees guy. Did not work out. Probably not the play. Definitely not the play. Someone said $20 million for a photo. Isn't that crazy? Like, I know lobbying and donations. I get it. But $20 million, that's big money. But here's the thing. If somebody's getting in trouble by the Justice Department and they have billions of dollars, $20 million is worth it to try to lobby the U.S. government. You get what I'm saying? Say I don't know these people completely, but let's just use an example. Say you got $5 billion, you're getting in trouble with the U.S. government. It's not a bad idea to get a $20 million lobbying donation. Whatever it costs to get the U.S. government off your back is probably worth it for some of these foreigner dissidents. So crazy world, folks. Crazy story. I just saw the headline. I was like, Fuji rapper, China, what? They're not just rapping. Now they're hanging out with Obama and trying to leverage the Trump administration to get their way. Weird stuff, folks. All right, let's get into the second story. There's not much I can say that Brittany Griner isn't going to say with her voice. She was obviously stuck in Russia. She got arrested there and recently got sent back home. And she's basically advocating for transgender in the WNBA and allegedly says it's a crime, like to not allow it. I mean, I'll let her speak in her own words. Let's just watch the clip. I don't know. I found it mildly interesting, beyond mildly interesting, or else I wouldn't have played it. Let's look.
Good morning, Brittany. I'm Bill Roden from ESPN Landscape. It's really great to see you. It's good to know the prayers have been answered. The question, you've always represented so much throughout your entire career about access and, being able to do stuff. And I hate to put one more thing on your plate, but there are a number of states who are aggressively moving to prevent transgender athletes playing. And I was wondering, again, I hate to put one more thing on your plate, but in terms of on your radar, where is that? You're going to have a tremendous platform, but where is that going to be on your radar in terms of advocating for, athletes, all athletes, transgender athletes, to be able to play?
Oh, I mean, that ranks high on the list of things that I'll be fighting for and speaking up against. Everyone deserves the right to play. Everyone deserves the right to come here, sit in these seats, and feel safe and not feel like there's a threat or they can't be who they are or like it's just all eyes on them. So I think it's a crime, honestly, to separate someone for any reason So I definitely will be speaking up against that legislation and those laws that are trying to be passed for sure.
Oh my gosh. What can I really say that you're not already thinking? She will definitely be using her voice to speak out on these topics. What to say, what to say, what to say. All right, well, let's just start with this. It's a deep voice. I don't know. Everybody, there's some men with high voices, there's some women with deep voices. No shame in the game. I'm just saying, everyone's thinking it. But that's fine. Sometimes it takes a deep voice to have a dream to fight for transgender sports. So somebody's got to do it. Thank you, Brittany. With that being said, I don't know, man. I'm I'm at a loss for words because Brittany Griner's voice is such a strong voice for these men and women, or men, literally men and women, men or women, transitioning men, women, two-spirited, three-spirited, you know what I'm saying, biologically born, everything. We stand for everyone. It's just so wild to me that this is a conversation that's being had now, because there was a movie about this entire plot, basically. Like just the whole idea of biologically born men playing women's sports. There was a movie called Joanna Man. I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie. Someone said Anomaly stoned. I'm not stoned. I'm not off the marijuanas. I'm just naturally having a good time. I'm sorry if laughing. This is always interesting to me. People think you have to be high in order to have fun. Like, I have a fun time, and people are like, oh, you're high. It's like, what does that say about society, that nobody's fun unless they're high or drunk? But anyway, the movie Joanna Man was like a man who basically just dressed up as a woman to just dominate the women's basketball league. That's just what the movie was about. I mean, look it up on IMDb. With that being said, nobody was talking about transgender sports 10, 15 years ago. Am I supposed to think that we just evolved? Listen, I have compassion, I have empathy, I have sympathy. I'm not one of these people that just talks down to everybody. But this idea that now everyone's going to pretend like they don't understand the difference, I'm beyond caring about this topic, to be honest. I want transgender athletes to play in the WNBA. I'm not talking about women's MMA and your daughters in school. I'm specifically talking about the WNBA. I agree with Brittany Griner. Jokes aside, I agree. I want biologically born men to play in the WNBA. I would love that. I hope it happens. I'm 100% on page with Brittany Griner. I want to see people like Ja Morant just doing 360 windmill dunks on the faces of, the Megan Rapinoes of the world. I understand that she plays soccer, but I'm tired of her too. Oh, we need to stand up for trans sports. Cool. Let's replace the whole annoying women's soccer team with people that don't cry as much and dye their hair pink. I mean, you could dye your hair pink. I'm not mad at the hair dye. I'm just saying, like, I'm so tired of hearing Megan Rapinoe. Let some biologically born men beat her like 15-0, and then let's see how much she wants it. And if she still does, great. The WNBA, sure, why not? Who cares? Nobody really watches it that much anyway. I've heard it's subsidized by the men's league. Let them play. Let them play, please. So I have to stop hearing about it. With that being said, it's just wild that it's a crime. Like, this is how illogical these people are. At the end, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but it's a crime to stop anyone. I mean, let me just play the clip real quick. I'm going to play it off my computer so you're not going to be able to hear it, but I don't want to like mess it up. What did she say exactly? Hold on, I'm going to hear.
For any reason,
Hold on.
separate.
Oh, it's a crime. It's a crime to separate for any reason. It is? Is this the logic we're going? I know some right wingers are annoying and they're mean and stuff, but like, this is what left wingers are going with now. It's a crime to separate for any reason. What if I play in a co-ed league, or I play in a men's league? The co-eds league is men and women, and then the men's league is all men. Is it a crime? Is that a crime to separate the men from the women Is that a crime to have all women's league? It's a crime now. That's the crime. You can't just play in a co-ed league. No, you can't do that. It's just a crime. Let's just open up the floodgates. It's a crime. It's a crime to separate men and women for any reason. It's just a crime. So let's let the WNBA compete in the NBA. Let's have 1 year. Well, let's knock down boundaries with Brittany Griner. Not Russian boundaries, though, because then you'll end up in Russian prison. But in general, let's knock down these barriers and let's just stop the segregation. Let's stop it. Stop that. Let's open them up. There is no more gender. Let's just let the women play with the men. Please. Can we please let the Los Angeles Lakers play Brittany Griner's team? What is their name? I don't know. The San Francisco Rainbow people. I don't know what their names are. The Dallas shoot. I don't know. What are their names? I'm trying to think of one team. The Sparks. The Sparks are one name. Can we please just allow this? Let's use their logic. It's a crime to just separate for any reason. It just is. Okay. Sure. Let's let LeBron James beat the women by 500 points. Please. I'm begging. I don't really want to talk about it that much more. It's just a funny, interesting clip, and just like the softness of it just nothing matters, nothing exists. Okay, then let's just all sit at home and do nothing and never ever separate anyone for any reason at all. There's just no reason for anything ever. Where does this end? It's just a crime to separate people in sports leagues. Okay, then women's leagues won't exist. I don't care. I really don't. Can we separate kids by age? Is that okay? There's no reason to ever separate anyone. No? Should we just put the first graders in with the high schoolers and let them learn the same stuff because it's a crime to just learn different things at different times? Nothing exists anymore. It's just stupid. But whatever. I guess that's the game they're going to play. No one thought this 10 years ago. It's not like cross-dressers and transgender. It's not like this is new. There's never been a cross-dresser before. It's been happening. Gay marriage was legal during Obama. He legalized gay marriage. And for 7 years, nobody pretended that sports were no one. Why did no one have this conversation before? Where was this conversation for my entire life? Because does anyone actually believe it? Caitlyn Jenner has to be the big advocate against it. And then they call Caitlyn Jenner transphobic. It's just getting weird. I don't know. Do you think everyone actually believes it or they're just going against it? Because no matter how much compassion and empathy and sympathy you have and how nice you are, I'm a nice person. I don't have time to just bash. You get what I'm saying? Whatever you got to do, that's between you and God and you and your family. I got bigger fish to fry. With that being said, I've watched the WNBA. I've watched the NBA. It's not the same. It's just not. I've watched women's MMA. I watched men's MMA. It's not the same. I like the women's MMA. I'm not saying that they're bad. It's just not the same power. It's just not the same level. It's just not. Same with weight classes. 140 pounds can't fight 250. It's just not. You just can't. I watch surfing. It's just not the same between the men's and the women's. That's why they segregate the leagues by gender so the women can actually play. If there's no segregation among gender, then the women aren't going to be able to compete. I watch surfing. The worst guy would beat the women. It's just true. If we want to pretend like that's not the case, it's just dishonest. It's obvious. Everyone knows it. Apparently, it's getting a lot of clicks for conservative media because I looked at 3 different conservative outlets, and the first thing is trans story, trans story, trans story. I'm kind of tired of it. I understand why people are talking about it. I'm not doing this for clicks. Honestly, this has less views than most of my other videos. I just found it entertaining, the voice and what they were saying. But it's just getting weird. On that note, I'm going to hang out for a little bit since this is like a shorter show. I don't have that much, but I wanted to come up with a concept. And if you guys want me to talk about anything else, this is the time. I've been so busy. I've done like 9 live streams, I think in a row, or 10 days of 10 shows. I'm producing, I'm editing, I'm getting the guests. Appreciate everybody who supports on Patreon, Twitter, Facebook, any of that stuff. Check the links in the bio. I'm one of the hardest working independent news analysts in the game. I also do run a news website now. I'm working on all this stuff. So thank you guys for supporting. I work super hard around the clock. With that being said, I have 2 things that I wanted to mention, and it's kind of just a challenge for conservatives, or just a thought that I had that is interesting. Feel free to disagree. I said true or false. Is this why so many kids are being liberal? I understand so many kids are liberal today. Let me be clear. I understand the media. I see the education system. I understand that most of the teachers are left-wing. I understand that the culture's left-wing, but I don't consider myself a victim. I'm not a victim to the left, right? If that's how the system is, it got that way for a reason. And if the system is that way, people need to grow out of it or raise their kids properly, right? Lavish Pass Kids, I'm going to read that because it's a $50 super chat. I'm like a stripper. You throw $50 at me, I'll stop. Now, I'm not that viable, but I just think that's a nice thing. So I could say this in a second. Lavish Pass Kids said the fairness of egalitarianism is always unfair to the exceptional individual. Dudes shouldn't have to pay for chick leagues. At no point was anything that got us here fair. Ergo, fairness is a worthless argument as in trans sports. Well, yeah, I mean, the women's league, I think, is subsidized by the men. So that's why I'm fine with it getting destroyed, because I don't think it's it's like that whole league was basically just like a gimme to the women anyway. So at least in MMA, they actually make money and stuff. They earn their way. I don't think the WNBA is earning that much, but whatever. Thanks for the super chat. Anyway, with conservative stuff, I understand the media, everything is left wing, but to me, the kids are turning liberal. Say you're a conservative parents and your kids turn out liberal. I think there's 2 reasons, or at least 2 major reasons, that conservatives are losing the youth, even when they try. One, I think even though the left might not be as compassionate as they're pretending to be, the right, in my opinion, sometimes lacks empathy and compassion for what's going on. But more importantly than that is number 2, is a lot of these kids look at their parents and they realize that they're not living the life that they claim to live, and they see the hypocrisy, and that makes them go left. And when I said this on Twitter, a lot of people said, well, the left is this, well, the left is that. And I understand that. I'm not making an excuse for the left. They're bad. But them being bad doesn't make me good. You get what I'm saying? My career is not defined by what the left is doing. My career is defined by what I did. I can't just sit and point to other people. I have to be someone. So when it comes to family, and when it comes to, raising kids and stuff, my opinion doesn't really matter until I do it. And I'm aware of that. Yes, I have my opinions, but what matters more? My opinion of how you should raise your family, or how I raised my family? I'm 33 years old. I want to have a wife. I want to have a kids. I'm being picky for a reason, and I've waited for a reason. And I'm glad I waited, because in my 20s, I would have been a terrible husband and a terrible father. I wasn't mature. It took me a long time. With that being said, I know that if I want to speak about how to raise someone's family, I have to do it successfully, and then my word matters a lot. Right now, my word doesn't matter that much. But the thing is, I'm aware of that, so I say what I can where I can, and then I leave it alone. Sometimes people can't keep their own family together. People can't live by their own standards, yet they have no compassion and empathy for people doing the same as them, and that leads a lot of the kids to be liberal. All I'm going to say is this. If you're in a family where it's nearly perfect, I'm not saying completely perfect, but like you have a wife, you have a lot of kids, they love you, they're all conservative, your wife loves you, you didn't get a divorce, then go on social media and say, here's how to raise your family. I raised my family this way, it's working, my wife loves me, my kids love me, they're not liberal, this is who I am. In my opinion, then you could talk shit. You could talk that talk. You could pressure people. You could be rude about it. I don't mind that. But 9 out of 10 of these conservative influencers that are the loudest, the most annoying, the most judgmental, they lack empathy and compassion for others. These are ones that don't have a family. They don't have kids. They are divorced, or they can't keep the stuff together. And I'm not saying that makes you a bad person. I'm just saying if that's the case, then clearly it didn't work for you. Why should anybody listen to you? That's all. I'm just not trying to be rude. I'm just saying I know my place. It's not my place to tell people how to have a successful wife and raise a family. I haven't done it. So why would it matter? My words don't matter. My actions matter. People don't like conservatives because they don't lead by example most of the time, and they just tell other people how to live. I don't want to really bring this up, but I will in a semi-respectful way. Crowder's going through stuff, and I'm not going to hold it over his head, but I saw on Twitter 2 days ago, he's tweeting about a trans family. And I'm not saying you can't have an opinion, but bro, take a week off. Take a week off from talking about other people's family when you didn't even keep your own together. I'm not going to dunk on you. I'm not going to overly hold it over your head. Life is not easy, but nobody wants to hear you right now talk about other people's family. Be self-aware, understand that you have things to work on, and work on them, and then you can lead by example. But when you're not leading by example, but you still can't talking about other people and other people's family, left-wing kids see this and they resent their parents, they resent conservatives, and they have every right to resent people who aren't living by their own standards. So I think that people should live by their own standards. That's more important than my opinion, how I maintain myself. But because I'm not a perfect person, because I haven't walked the walk in certain elements of life, I have humility and compassion. If you're not going to do this stuff, the least you can do is have empathy and compassion for other people. If you're not living that life that you're talking about, but you have zero empathy and compassion, there's a reason left-wingers hate you, and there's a reason the kids hate you, and they're not wrong. Why should they respect somebody that's not living the life that they live, yet they're yapping and being annoying about it? Live it, Cowboy Bear said losing kids to government indoctrination centers is the main reason, but that's also on us. When I said this, people said, well, the left does this, but the left is not raising their family, and if they are, then they shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? You can't play the victim forever. If that's the way the system is, you have to find a way around the system. You can't dump your kids off in the system and cry when the system does what the system does. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't hit hard. And I don't mind when people go hard in the paint, but if you're going to go hard in the paint, really be that person. And if you're not really that person, then don't go hard in the paint. The reason I go so hard when I talk about being lobbied and people selling out to donors and stuff, I'm not a sellout. I would never sacrifice what I believe for something else. So I speak on that. But I understand why people do. I'm just not that. If I was somebody that could be bought and it's like, yo, you throw me $1 million from Pfizer and I'll go run around the country selling vaccines, then I would shut up about that stuff if I was that person, but I'm not. I would never do that. But then other things like raising a family and having kids, these are things that I don't harp at other people over. Who cares what I think? I'll tell you what I think, and it's going to matter when I have a wife and when I have kids and when my family's successful. If my family's not successful, I need to live that life before I start telling other people how to do it. A lot of conservatives do live that life. A lot of conservatives do make it happen, and a lot don't. But if you don't, your job is to do it. The best way you can fight the left is to be who you say you are. Am I wrong? I'm just being honest. It's like if you didn't keep your family together, it's okay. I'm not hating on it, but work on that. You can't just yell at other people when you're not able to do it yourself. It doesn't come off right. And if you did go through struggles, if you did get a divorce, if you did, fail in certain ways, have empathy and compassion for other people going through that. You don't have to agree with certain people's lifestyle. You don't have to agree with trans sports. You don't have to agree with what they're doing to the kids. I'm not saying to just cave to it, but I'm just saying like some of the loudest people in the conservative movement are some of the worst people. They're the worst people with their family. They're the worst person outside of the thing. And it's like, this is why the left hates people, because they see stuff like that and they're like, you get what I'm saying? It's like a parent. If your parents on social media all the time talking about how conservative they are, but then they're annoying and, you see them in their own life and they don't even live by their own principles, yet they're always harping at other people to live by things that they don't live by, it makes a lot of the kids not like you. Someone said bad example. You could think that. That's okay, but I think it's valid. Someone said, I'm divorced, I'm still conservative, so what you're saying is literally way off. You could think that, and you're allowed to think that, but I don't think that that's true. If you're divorced, it doesn't make you a bad person, but if you're divorced and you're single and you're on social media telling everyone how to live a life and have a successful marriage, maybe you shouldn't. That's all I'm saying. I don't overstep things that I'm not doing. do you want me to sit here and say the best, you should raise a family and have a lot of kids, and if you don't do that, you're a loser? It's like, then I'm a loser because I'm not doing it. But like I said, there's a reason that I've waited this long. When I was 27, 29, I wouldn't have made a good husband and father. So I stand by how I've lived my life. I'm not regretful in any way. But now that I'm 33, it's time to take steps in that direction. Find the right woman. Be selective about it. I don't want a divorce. I want kids. But everything is lined up in my life to this point, and now I'm making that decision. But I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm not saying you can't be conservative. But if you're one of these people yapping on Twitter every day about how other people should raise their family, it's cringe. You know, your job, if you are divorced and you're single and you want to be married, your number one job should be to find your love, the love of your life, and get married. Your opinion on what other people should do in that department doesn't matter until you've done it. This is like the uncomfortable truth, in my opinion, that people don't want to hear. It's like, no, I want to sit on Twitter every day and tell other people how to live, even though I haven't figured it out. It's like, why? Maybe that's why you haven't figured it out. You get what I'm saying? Someone said victim culture, America's weak. Both sides play the victim. I'm not hating on people how they live their life. I'm just saying in general, you got to do it, and then your word matters more. Actions matter more than words. You know, one person that got really torn apart by the right-wing culture was Owen Benjamin. You know, he definitely said things that bothered people, and he goes further than most, but he moved to a farm, has a bunch of kids, and has a wife. And it's like, you know, his opinion on that matters more because his marriage is intact and he has kids. So it's like, you know, if he speaks on it, at least he's actually living it. He actually is homesteading. It's like you got people talking about homesteading every day, but they live in a San Francisco apartment by themselves, and it's like, it doesn't really hit hard if you're not doing it, in my opinion. And if you really believe that, then live that life. But if you're not living that life, all I'm saying is have a little bit of sympathy, empathy, and compassion for others. You know, you can't do both ways. You can't have no sympathy, empathy, and compassion for other people not doing stuff when you're not doing it. It doesn't come off right. If you're going to go hard in the paint, you got to live that life. If you're not, someone said, okay, we get it. I think this is hurting a lot of people's feelings, but I think it's crucial. You know, if you're a man or a woman and you're not where you want to be in your family life or your relationship, that is more important than any of the activism that you're doing. And half the reason that people don't actually do it in their own lives is because they're so busy worrying about everything else. I know this message might bother some people, but it's just the truth. Outside of my job, outside of my business, outside of what I do, I understand that what's important for me, like people say, run for politics, run for office. No, I want to start a family. I want to have kids. I want to find the woman that I want to be with for the rest of my life and make sure it's right and go through that thing. Like, that's more important to me than running for office. But I understand. Someone said your rap career is cringy. I don't know why people are so bothered with this conversation. It's to myself and everyone, but if cringy means tens of millions of streams, you know, performing in front of tens of thousands of people, and I mean, I'm sorry you'll never get to experience that. I've performed at some of the biggest shows of the year in front of tens of thousands of people. But you know, like, have fun in the comment section. No problem. Someone said 800%. Someone said staying single, 43, never married. It's a peaceful life. Some people get energy from a relationship, family. Others get drained by it. Listen, I'm not telling people what to do or how to live. And if you feel that way and you're happy, there's nothing wrong with that. My message is so simple, but people are getting so offended. My point is this: if you're single and 43, there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. But if you're single and 43 and telling other people that you got to stay together and this is how you raise a family and this is how you keep a happy wife, it's cringe. If you want to be single at 40, that's you. But don't be like Mr. Family Man on social media and be very rude to others over it when you're not even living that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not telling people that they have to do this or they have to do that. This bothers so many people because so many conservatives don't live that life and they preach it so rudely. Even if you believe it and preach it, to me, there's nothing wrong with it. Just be thoughtful about it. If this message bothers you, where you're like, I want to just yell and be annoying about the life that I don't live, Maybe that's why this annoys you, because this is the truth that nobody's telling you. And this is why a lot of the kids don't like conservatives, because they see the adults that are preaching and being so rude and so lack compassion on a life that they don't live, and no one wants to be like that. No kids look up at a mom. They start resenting you. They start resenting the dad. They start resenting the adults that are just such hypocrites and so obnoxious and lack just thoughtfulness on things that they don't even do. At least if you are annoying but you live that life, I respect you. I respect people who go hard and they live that life. I respect people that are tough and rude, but they actually live it. That's fine. I don't have an issue with that. But if you're not living it and you are that rude, nobody likes it. And you don't even like it. And it doesn't even help you. What's so crazy about this message that I'm saying? It's such a simple, obvious truth, but so many people are bothered by it because the conservative world is like, so, it's like you could go to a conservative event and the guy will be on stage and being like, you need to stay with your wife and, it's all about a family. And then they'll get drunk and cheat on their wife. And then they'll get up the next day and start screaming at transgenders on a stage. It's like, it's fake. And I'm not saying everybody does that. I'm just saying, like, if you're cheating on your wife, who cares if you stand on a CPAC stage and tell people not to cheat on their wife? People don't understand that. You not cheating on your wife matters more than you talking about not cheating on a CPAC stage and then getting drunk and trying to bang somebody with your newfound political fame. You don't get why that's more important to live the life than speak about it. It's crazy. It's such an obvious, simple truth that shouldn't offend anybody. Not mad at people who go hard in the paint. I'm just saying, if you do and you don't actually live it, it's weird. If you don't live it, it's okay, in my opinion. Just stop being so loud and annoying about things that you don't actually do. Have thoughtfulness. I'm thoughtful about certain things I used to do. I'm thoughtful about things that I do now. I don't have to agree with transgender sports, and I don't have to agree with giving an 8-year-old hormones. I'm not telling people to cave on issues that they believe in. I'm just saying, if you're not the family person and you've had issues in your own family life, just be thoughtful about that for others, because others are going through that also. No? You don't want to? You just want to not take care of your own personal business and yell at everybody else and be annoying? Okay, then you'll be like 6 out of 10 people. It's just cringe. I respect the conservative family that is crushing it. And I respect the conservative family that can't make it because life is tough. That's half the country. I'm not knocking it. It's just like, if that's the case, focus on why it failed and make it better. Don't just judge others. No? It all starts with you. No, I don't know. I thought it was a pretty obvious message, but someone said, talk shit about conservatives. You're fake. You're telling people that. I'm not. The fact that you think self-awareness is talking shit about conservatives is insane. It's legitimately insane. And this is how people are going nuts with politics. It's like they think like, if you can't stay with your husband and you're divorced and you can't keep your family together, the left doesn't matter. Your life matters. And I'm not saying you're a bad person. It's just like, you on Facebook every day complaining about the left doesn't matter. This is why people don't like you. Get your own stuff together and then complain about other people. If not, what's the point? I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just saying, like, I don't judge people for the mistakes they've made. I make mistakes. I'm not a perfect person, but I have thoughtfulness. People don't want to be thoughtful. Saying to be thoughtful, if that offends you, this is a rude awakening. That's all I'm saying. And this doesn't apply to conservatives. It doesn't apply to the conservatives that know this, understand it. There's people who are like, no, it doesn't apply to me. It's just weird. Someone said painfully obvious. It's bizarre. You're 100% real, so I'm going to call you fake. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I'm not saying people are bad for having personal family mistakes. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying focus on yourself, and if you live that life, then speak on it with conviction. But if you don't, have thoughtfulness about it. No, that's talking crap. Why? Because I'm not just here like, the left, give your money to Republicans so they can endorse Mitt Romney. Oh, that's talking trash on Republicans? It's so stupid. But I guess people don't want to actually do anything. They just want to, like, yeah, honk, 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 laugh. It's like, sorry that conversation bothered you. It's just so bizarre. Josh said, I hear you. Anomaly, I agree with you. I'm not a sissy who gets offended by constructive criticism. it's not even, I know some people are taking it personally, but I'm applying this to myself also. I could sit here and be like one of these people. Like there's people on Twitter every day that are not doing anything, but they're just like rudely yelling at everyone all the time. I'm just trying to be honest. It's like, what I could sit here and say, the best thing to do is, you're doing a bad job raising your family. Here's the way to do it. But every time I speak on that stuff, I try to be honest and say, I want to lead by example. You know what I'm saying? When I do it myself, then maybe I could write a book about it. But if I write a book about it and then I get divorced and my kids hate me, who cares what book I wrote? You get what I'm saying? My opinion doesn't matter. Cowboy Bear, thank you for the super chat. $50. Appreciate you. He said 40 plus year old with young kids here. Have kids when you're young. You'll never have enough money for kids. Might as well have them young so you could give them what they will value the most, your time and energy. If I could travel, I'd kick my 20-year-old self in the butt. Well, yeah, I wish I was mature enough in my 20s to do that, but I was in a city by myself. I had no money. I wasn't, in my opinion, desirable to women because I didn't have my own stuff together. So, yeah, in hindsight, I would have been a great Christian and never had sex at a wedlock. And you know what I'm saying? I would have done all of those things, but it took me until my early 30s, late 20s to figure a lot of stuff out. So I hear you, but to me, it's like at this point, I'm trying to take stuff seriously. I don't want to get divorced. I don't want to pick the wrong person. I see a lot of people rush into a lot of things with people that they don't even get along with over lust or maybe just like, butterflies, and then it doesn't work out. But, having a kid, even if you get divorced, you still made that life and it's beautiful, just like myself. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just, I'm not trying to wait forever. No question. It's just, I don't think if I would have had a kid in my 20s that I would have been a good father or husband. I almost definitely would have got divorced. That's just my opinion, but I appreciate it. I hear you. I hear a lot of people when they're older, they wish they had kids younger. That's definitely something that I've heard. Someone said having a kid just speeds up growth process at a younger age. Yeah, for sure. The way I live my life, it wasn't really a thing. I don't know. I don't know where I would have been if that would have happened, but I can't imagine I would be here right now, honestly. Someone said you'll find your person. I'm not really concerned about it. Life is good. And to me, this is another thought I have too. I'm sorry if the last one offended people. I was speaking also to myself. I wasn't just like preaching to someone else. I need to do that as well. But if you don't fix yourself, in my view, there's always going to be issues with a relationship. Because it's like if you're broken or your other significant other's broken, there's always going to be conflict where, it's nice to meet somebody that has their stuff together because no matter how hard you try, people need to be at a certain level where I don't know. I definitely don't want to marry somebody and have issues and then divorce. I could see that being an issue if people don't have their stuff together. Someone said, I'm sure the 304s throw themselves an anomaly on the regular. What's a 304? I need to look that up. My street slang is down, but my mindset has changed from when I was younger. Someone said Crowder needs to come out and be honest before his entire career is done. I'm not going to speak on his relationship, but I will say this. He brought a lot of stuff upon himself when he decided to basically, and by the way, I got this right. 80% of conservative influencers, once again, got this whole story wrong, and they went with this fake martyr story where the Steven Crowder's this amazing boss that's going to fight big tech. That was never true. I'm going to speak on that because Crowder made it public. Steven Crowder tried to basically use his free agent status to try to get a new deal to basically paint himself as this martyr that's taking on big conservative media. And in reality, he never showed his own contracts. He could have been like, here's the way to line up a contract that's way better. He never showed his contracts because he doesn't give out good contracts. And it seems like most people who work for him hate him and leave. Who stayed there? Not Jared, not Jared Monroe or whatever his name is, not Gay Jared, they called him. Not Dave Landau now left and said he had a 5-minute tardy policy. You have to leave the premises. So Crowder's the ultimate hypocrite. He gives out shittier contracts than Daily Wire. He's like a sociopath. He lied about it to the world and covered up certain stuff and said, oh my gosh, they're going to dock me $200,000 pay. Well, that seems like a lot. Why don't you show Steven Crowder how much money you're making? Because if you're making $400,000 and they dock $200,000, he just showed $200,000 docked, but he wasn't transparent enough to say it was on a $50 million contract, and that $200,000 was for a quarterly, photo shoot or a documentary. So it's like Crowder's the ultimate fraud. And I said this when he first came out. I don't even like Daily Wire. I criticize Ben Shapiro probably too much. They would probably never hire me at Daily Wire, so I have nothing to gain from that. Crowder lied. Jeremy Boring was more transparent. And Crowder records his friends' phone calls and records people's phone calls all the time and says, oh, look, he said wage slave. Well, what type of contract did you have Dave Landau under? Because it was an hourly contract where you docked his pay if he was late. So I'm not going to talk about his marriage. That's for him, his wife, and apparently Candace Owens now because he dragged her into it. But, he started this whole thing by basically bashing Daily Wire, and now he's crying the victim over that stuff. It's like, dude, no one asked you to pretend like you were the Paul Revere of conservative media. You did that. And if you're giving out these great contracts and you're such a good boss, then it makes sense. But he was never that person. And now it's all getting exposed because the second he came out and said, oh, Daily Wire is so corrupt and I'm so great, his co-host Dave Landau left because he was disgusted knowing who Crowder really was and knowing his real contracts. So, that's the type of person he is. But I'm not trying to get into like, I'm not going to be another person that's just going to harp on what's going on with him and his wife. It's sad. I'm just saying with the media contract, that whole shtick that he did in January, it was total gaslighting and total dishonesty. And if you go back in time and watch my videos on it, my videos once again aged to perfection. And everybody that was like, oh, he's such a victim and a hero, now they're all having second thoughts about their takes. I'll take the heat in the present moment. I'm trying to be accurate. I'm trying to be fair. Now go find all the people that were saying that he was so right. See if they're still saying that. Probably not. But I want to talk about the contract thing because that was public. He made it public. He made the whole thing. I'm not diving into his relationship. I don't want to do that. I want to have my own relationship. I don't want to sit and if I spent my time saying, oh, Steven Crowder did this with his wife, that's kind of messed up. It's like the guy's going through a lot and I need to live my life. My life's not defined by what Crowder did or didn't do. My life's defined by what I do. That's what I want to, that's the message that I'm trying to preach to conservatives. I'm not perfect. I have a long way to go. You're not perfect, but if we spent more time actually trying to live the life that we talk about, I think it would work better. The reason it doesn't work is because we're easily deceived sometimes on the right wing by people selling us this false dream, and everybody just gets hyped off it because they just want to get the quick fix. Like, oh, this guy's going to fix it. Is he though? Maybe, maybe not. Is he really that different? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But the one thing we can control is ourselves and what we do. So it's just worth thinking about. Did he miss his kid's birth? I don't want to talk about all that stuff. I really don't. Someone else can talk about it. Someone else can bring that up. To me, it just feels a little grimy. But as far as who he pretended to be, the savior of conservative media, I was right about that. I called it right. I knew it. I knew more than I even said because not about his relationship or anything. I knew nothing about that. It's just like I knew people who worked for him. I knew the type of contracts he had people under. I knew all that. I'm just not trying to say too much because I know some people are overly litigious and they got people under NDAs and stuff. But it's like I saw through that a million miles away. But, it is what it is. Everybody does something. Contact him and interview him. I highly doubt Crowder wants to do a bunch of interviews right now. I don't want the views from a Crowder interview right now. Crowder needs to get his own life together and figure all this stuff out. His wife's releasing ring videos. I don't want to dunk on him and I don't really want to speak to him right now. I want Crowder to figure himself out. And if he wants to interview with me in a few months, that's fine, but I don't want to hop in and just be like, hey, even with the Candace Owens interview, I asked Candace last week to interview. Before the whole Crowder divorce thing came out, I had no idea about that. I seriously didn't. Why would I know about that? But in general, I didn't ask Candace to come on right after Crowder so I could talk about Crowder. That's not what I did, and that's why I made it a point to not even bring that up. I could have easily done that for clicks and views and stuff, but I already covered it the day before, not even knowing Candace was going to come on the show. She hit me up after I did that segment about that. So I was like, I don't want to look like someone that's just like, let me talk about Crowder. It's like, I wanted to ask Candace about Trump, Thomas Massey, DeSantis. If it comes up organically, that's fine. I'm not censoring, but this wasn't like a gotcha moment. Someone said Landau was there. Dave Landau's podcast is worth listening to with Michael Malice. I'm not a huge Crowder, Dave Landau fan, so I'm not picking sides of like who I like more. But the truth is, Crowder pretended like the Daily Wire contract was so bad and he's so much better, and he's really not. And his contracts were not better. Nobody stays with them. And I guarantee you that most people who left Crowder because of how they were being treated, they probably would love to work for Daily Wire. And actions speak louder than words. I bet you Dave Landau, Quarter Black, they're signing to Blaze where Crowder left. So it's like he can pretend for the world that he's the savior of conservative media and he treats his employees so great and his contracts are so much better, and people can have the right to believe it. But at the end of the day, I was probably in the 20 to 30% of the people who knew he was full of it. And we got a lot of backlash. People tried to say, oh, the Daily Wire paid you. You're big. I'm Big Con. I'm 100% independent. I'm Big Con. Mark Dice is Big Con because we're smart enough to see through it. We're not Big Con. We're actually independent. And we're talking about a mega corporation, Daily Wire, and Steven Crowder, who's worked with mega corporations for most of his career. I'm not sold out because I have an opinion on something you don't understand. There's two mega stars and two mega corporations beefing with each other, and you believe that one. It's like with Trump and DeSantis. It's like, if you don't agree with Donald Trump, you must be a DeSimp. You must be working for Paul Ryan. People say this to me when I give an opinion. Trump is a politician. He's a billionaire. He knows Democrats and Republicans. He's been famous his whole life, and Trump was president for 4 years, okay? DeSantis is a politician. He's been a politician for a while. They both take donor money. They're both politicians now. If I give you my perspective on Trump and DeSantis and it doesn't go line in line with what Trump told you, I'm not working for Paul Ryan and I'm not an establishment person. I'm just telling you what I believe. I know you might not agree. You might not like it, but no one told me to say this. How am I the establishment one when both Trump and DeSantis take hundreds of millions of dollars from donors? I don't censor myself at all. In what I believe, and I'm not controllable like that. That's why certain things I speak on with conviction when I know the truth. It's like I would never do what Trump or DeSantis did. I just wouldn't. And maybe that's why I'm not in politics, and maybe that's why I never can be. Maybe this is a good space for me. But it's like the way they both ran around selling the vaccine, because let's not distort history. DeSantis also did it too. He also did that. Molly said, why are you being a lib? Do you have personal issues, Molly, or something? Because I'm not trying to be rude, but I think you have some internal trauma or anger going on, and nothing in this stream is going to help you. So I don't know what to really tell you. There's nothing that I'm saying that's lib, but maybe you've been programmed to be like, if anyone says anything other than build wall and MAGA, then they must be libtard. Like, I don't know what's going on, but nothing what I said is even liberal. It's just like, I'm not even talking about that. For the record, I'm not even really saying anything negative about Trump. I'm literally just speaking my opinion about both sides of the equation and having my own perspective. Like, people are so, like, sometimes I'll say something and people just yell like a phrase, and it's like almost like it's like robotic, like, ah! I didn't mean to scream into the microphone, but it's like, I'll say something and they're like, ah, ah, and I'm like, are you okay? Is something wrong? Because I didn't even say that much. I have said more before, but this live stream's been pretty tame, in my opinion. I'm not trying to be rude, but it's like, stop yelling at me. Someone said he made me listen and think for myself. It's really not that hard, but I understand on the right that I guess what I just said is controversial, because some people, they just copy and paste whatever Trump says, and that's their entire worldview and belief. So like, that's what makes this statement controversial. But it's really not that crazy to look at what Trump and DeSantis are saying and have your own perspective about it. If it lines up with one more than the other, that's fine, but mine doesn't. Mine doesn't line up with one or the other completely. Someone said way more people were libs 8 years ago. it's true people are waking up, but also the people that are waking up are realizing that the Republican Party isn't who they pretended to be, and Trump's not who he's pretending to be. So we could ignore the elephant in the room also, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm all about we got to focus on ourselves, and I talk about the right more because I don't play the victim. If I'm a registered Republican, if I lean right, I'm not going to just sit and complain about the left all day. It doesn't make sense to me. It's our job to do our best, in my view. I'm going to have Scott Presler on the show as soon as he hits me back. I'm sure he'd love to come on. Maybe he wouldn't, but I think he will. The reason I want to have Scott Presler on the show is because Scott isn't just sitting on Twitter saying, we're going to lose, we're going to get cheated, we're the victim, herder, herder. Scott Presler's running around the country more than Ronna McDaniel, trying to get people registered, learning how Democrats are winning, and actually trying to figure out how to win. Scott Presler's not running around crying. He's like, no, we're going to lose the election, not because it's going to get stolen, but because while we're crying about the last election, Democrats are putting their chess pieces in for this election. And if we want to win this election, we have to put our chess pieces on the table for this election. So I'm going to have Scott on the show because he's going to tell you what we need to do better instead of just crying on True Social about the past and not doing anything for the future. I'm sorry that this is a controversial statement, but right now it's like Republicans in controlled demolition mode. They're just crying and lying and playing the victim and doing nothing while Democrats are strategically getting ready to win the next one. But this is the new conservative movement under Trump. It's like everybody's the victim. Everybody just complains. Everybody, Trump's a victim to Mike Pence. He only picked him. He's a victim to Bill Barr. He only picked him. And if you think otherwise, then you must be Paul Ryan, even though Trump's friends with Paul Ryan and Trump endorsed Mitt Romney. But that's okay. But when DeSantis does something, it's all DeSantis' fault, but not Trump. It's like, it's this whole fake brainwash mindset like trap that Trump has everybody in, and it's not going to work. So whether you vote for him or not, snap out of his little scheme because it's not going to work for 2024. Someone said I use Truth to check his account. It's worth checking. I'm just telling people to think critically. That's all. Let's see. Someone said conservatives are attacking each other. You're involved too. Well, if you want to be fair, I mean, maybe you could see it that way, but I do think, and maybe I'm not, maybe I'm wrong, I do think that I'm thoughtful when I do have my criticisms of certain things. I'm not like Crowder versus Daily Wire beefing, yelling at each other the way Trump's talking to DeSantis. I don't do stuff like that. To me, Crowder went for Daily Wire in an inauthentic way. If he would have done it authentically, there's a lot to criticize against Daily Wire. He didn't. Now there's drama over his personal life. Now Laura Loomer's fighting with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now these people are fighting with these people. Now Trump's fighting with DeSantis. These people are bringing it on themselves, and they're beefing in a way, in my opinion, that doesn't actually benefit the party. If you challenge your own party to make it better, that's one thing. All these little beefs that are going on, to me, are just like not working. It's like, to me, the right's breaking down because they don't have a real leader. This is my view. When Trump was really crushing it, there was unity in the movement. There was unity because he was the best at his job. He was crushing, and everybody understood that. That was on his side. Now, Trump is a shell of who he once was. People, their facade of who they were pretending to be and who they really were is fading. So now everything's breaking down. We don't have a real leader. He's not really who he used to be. He's kind of a clown now, and people don't want to admit it. Now everybody's bored and yelling at each other on Twitter. It's getting ugly. I'm not out here to tear people down and hate on them. I just try to give my opinion and be as thoughtful about it. When I joke about Dan Bongino, I also compliment him. I don't say Dan Bongino's a piece of garbage and blah blah blah, I want to fight with him. Dan Bongino seems like a nice guy, and he's impressive, and he's a good news host. He's definitely where he is for a reason. However, when I joke about Dan Bongino, I say the left. I'm just joking because a lot of left wingers, like, they never look at their own side and what Trump did. They just like play victim, where it's like, yes, the left is bad, but also, you'll never critique Trump at all when he's also kind of paving the way for the left to do that. So that's why I make the joke out of that. It's not like I'm trying to drag his entire life down. It's just funny where it's like, hey, the left, it's like, he's one of those people that like he'll cry about the 2020 election and say Trump's the victim, but he'll never tell you that Trump signed the CARES Act and Trump was okay with Congress not showing up to vote and Trump paved the way for the mass mail-in ballot election. You'll never hear that on someone like Dan's show. That's why I joke about it. Don't hate him. Think he's impressive. Think he's an important character. I just fundamentally disagree with this fact that Trump's an eternal victim of things that he did himself. I never hear anybody in that world ever talk about that, and that's the truth. The truth is that the Republicans are not the victim of the 2020 election. That, in my opinion, that entire conversation that Trump is leading was just a setup the entire time. It's getting people kicked off social media. It's getting people arrested by the feds. He's blaming the vice president he picked on the last day because he ran out of options to actually take the election. The whole thing is a trap. And I'm not saying that it was perfect, but if you look at how the Democrats won 2020, whether you think it was fair or not, all of that was paved by Republicans. They're not the innocent victims. If you think that the mass mail-in ballots is a scheme and a scam, then you have to understand that these wouldn't have been possible without Republicans locking down the country, without Republicans funding the Democrats and signing the CARES Act, and without Republicans not showing up to vote on the CARES Act, which then set the president legally and also, I would say on a federal level, that you don't have to show up. They played along to communism for 3 months. They're not the victim. If you play along to communism for 3 months and then communism happens in November, you have to look at yourself and say, I shouldn't have played along that much. I should have ended it earlier. I should have understood that the CARES Act was a communist scam. I should have known this. That is a party that's serious. A party that's not serious is one that plays the victim. Someone said you know-it-all anomaly. I'm not trying to pretend like a know-it-all. I'm just saying this movement's turned into a victim movement. They dig a grave for themselves, and they cry when Democrats push them in it. If you want to be a victim, go be a victim. That's fine. I'm just saying that's why the left-wing kids don't like you anymore, because it's like, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, kid. Go to liberal school and pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. And then their parents sit home watching television playing the victim. No, this is why the kids hate you. They're like, kids, you're a victim. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps and go to school. And then the kids go to school, they hate you, they come home, and they watch their parents watching television and people being like, Trump's the victim, Trump's the victim, Trump's the victim. Republicans are the victim. You never did anything wrong. It's all the left. And you're like, I'm a victim, kids, but you're not a victim. It's like, this is why the kids hate conservatives. Because they're the ultimate hypocrites. They tell everyone not to play the victim, and their entire reality that Trump brainwashed them in is a victim movement. We're the victims of the election that we screwed up. We're a victim of the lockdown that we were in on. We're the victim of the Democrats that we funded until November. We're the victim of the mass mail-in ballots that we helped usher in. We're the victim. We're the victim. That's the whole Republican thing. Watch Dan Bongino. He'll tell you that he's the victim. Trump's the victim. Victim, victim, victim. It's a victim movement. It's not a serious movement. And I know this bothers people because they're trapped in this fake victim world. So all I'm saying is just live the life. If you're going to be a victim, don't tell your kid not to be a victim. That's why they don't like conservatives, because they look like, at least if you're going to preach non-victim mentality, you have to live it. You have to live. I'm not a victim to big tech. I'm not a victim to Joe Biden. I'm not a victim to Donald Trump. I'm not a victim because of the color of my skin. I'm not a victim because of I see what's going on in the world. I see how they're trying to treat people. I see what they're doing. But guess what? I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim to anything. I really believe that. I don't feel like I'm focused on what I'm doing. Yeah, things could have been better. Things could have been worse. Weird things have happened. But overall, I really live that life. The Republicans don't. They don't. It's a sad reality because it's a tough thing to say, I guess. But someone said, then you're blind. Whatever you want to believe, my friend. Someone said Republican candidates are against legalizing marijuana. Some are, some aren't. Someone said, sorry, bro, you're a little off track. I know way more people motivated to vote the last 3 years. If that's your response to what I'm saying, you're not listening to what I'm saying. Because what I was saying was not even talking about people being motivated to vote. It has nothing to do with that. Someone said, I'm being raped by my government. Then move to another country. If you feel such a victim of your government and you're such a victim of the American government, move to another country. Go find somewhere else. I'm not saying I like taxes. I'm not saying you said you're African and you're getting raped by you live in Africa. I hear you. try to get to a different country. I don't know. If you live in Africa and the African government's really going after you, I'm not disagreeing, but then it's like you got to make a move. You know what I'm saying? You can't just sit there and say the government's raping me. It's like then try to get to a country where the government's off your back a little bit. I don't know. Someone said you're hating on me because I'm pro-white. I don't even know who you are. I'm not hating on you at all. And that's the opposite of what I'm saying here. It's not even a thing that I've even mentioned, you or that topic or hating what you're saying. So I don't know. Is anyone here actually listening, or are we living in an alternate reality? It's like I'm talking about one thing and people are like accusing me of another thing. Anyway, someone said, is it that easy? Just move. Just move where though? I'm going to try to be calm about this. Do you want to just be a victim your whole life? Then be a victim. I'm not going to stop you. But like, I don't know. When there's a problem in my life, I try to fix it. If I can't fix it, I don't worry about it. You're a victim to the government. You're a victim of this. You're a victim of that. What do I do? Where do I go? I don't know. Sit in your home all day, put on a mask, call yourself a liberal, listen to Rachel Maddow, and cry about how bad you feel for yourself all day. Is that what you want to do? I don't understand. Like, if it's not easy to move, then don't move. But if you're not going to move, then stop complaining about it. I don't know. No. Just complain your whole life. Complain about everything. Be grateful for nothing. Just sit there and play the victim. You can't move. Your life sucks, and it's going to suck forever, and there's nothing you can do. You just have to live where you can't. You can't move, and it's all bad, and you're the victim. Is that what you want to hear? I don't know what you want me to tell you. When I lived in places I didn't like, I made the most of it. If I wanted to leave, I left. If I couldn't, I didn't. But I didn't sit and cry about it all day. I don't know what you want me to say. Yes, you're the victim. You can't go anywhere ever. You're stuck there. If you're stuck there, then make the most of it. I don't know. I don't wake up every day saying, I'm a victim. I wake up every day saying, thank God I'm alive. God doesn't owe you breath. God doesn't owe you good health. God doesn't owe you anything. No one owes you anything. You know, I don't wake up in the morning and think about all the things I'm complaining about. I'm like, wow, I'm so happy to be alive. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to have another day to work. I'm so happy to have somewhat energy today, because I remember days that I was depressed where I didn't have energy. So I try to make the most of every day. And I did this before I had stuff. People will then say, well, you're just saying that because you have this and that. How do you think I got it? How do you think I got to this point? Because when I had nothing, I had the same mentality. You don't change your mind when you get stuff. You get stuff because you change your mind. That's the way it works. When I had nothing, no money, no car, I owned nothing, bank account was broke, nothing. I had this mindset. That's how I got everything. I manifested it. I worked for it. I created it. I jumped over hurdles. I didn't complain. That's how I got here. If I never had this mindset before, I wouldn't have anything. So that's why I'm trying to bless people with the mindset. Whether you're in Africa, whether your government sucks, you said I'm rambling, I'm giving you gems and you don't want to hear it. If you don't want to hear it, that's why you're living the life you're living. You're not a victim. You're the one that's saying, well, what if I can't move? What if you're rambling? I'm giving you the gems to how I came from nothing with no money and got everything. And if you don't want to listen, then stop crying and don't watch my channel. Just be a victim your whole life. I don't care. But I'm not somebody that had everything handed to me. I know what it's like to have nothing. And I had this mindset when I had nothing. When I had nothing, I remember changing my mind and getting everything. I remember it like it was yesterday. I learned this new mindset. I found out the power of gratefulness. And then I started looking at life different. Instead of saying, well, why don't I have this? Why does he have this? Why do his parents do that? I started being like, well, I do have a cell phone. And with my cell phone, I could upload to YouTube and Facebook, and, you know, that's kind of cool. And I just looked at life all different. It's like, instead of looking at what I didn't have, I looked at what I did have. And my whole life changed because of it. If that's rambling to you, then there's plenty of other channels to watch. But to me, this is what people get bothered by. What I'm telling you now is more important than my opinion about Trump or DeSantis. What I'm telling you now is more important than dunking on the left. What I'm telling you is more important than my opinion about Crowder. None of that matters. What matters is what I'm telling you now. So this is not rambling. This is everything. It's everything. But people don't want to actually fix their lives. They just want to hear somebody tell them what they want to hear, which is why politics is so popular. Because so many people don't want to do the tough work. They don't want to live that life. So they just sit and listen to some fat vaccine salesman or some brain dead, half dead grandpa, sellout loser tell them that, come on, Corn Pop's going to fight the Trump guy. And then people buy that. It's like, that's why politics is so successful. Because people are just like, well, maybe Joe Biden will fix my problems because I hate Trump. And it's like, if you hate Trump because of the right things he did, the left doesn't dislike Trump because of the wrong things he did. The left doesn't like Trump because of the right things he did. So if you don't like Trump for the things that he did right, it's going to take a lot more than Joe Biden slurping down a Haagen-Dazs to fix your life. It's just the truth, And people like when I joke about the left like that. But then if I joke about the right, it's like, it's not as funny. I talk to the right more. And I challenge the right more because I know that most people who watch me are right-leaning, and that's the party I vote for. I'm more interested in getting our party on a track than I am to making fun of people that don't even listen to me. I'm not really interested in that. I don't think it's effective. I think it's monetarily effective. There's people that, it's good like marketing, like look at the left, it's like, ha, 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 give me money and I'll fix your life. It's like, I could tell you that, but really no one's going to really fix your life, your mindset. It's on you. I could tell you if you listen to me enough, it will, but it really won't unless you just do it. Someone said people want to play the blame game. It's sad. People are bothered, but it's so fun to talk about because I've cracked the code of like the false paradigm. It's like the left, everything's victim mentality. Everything is like, anti-Christian, anti-white, anti-conservative masqueraded behind, now it's like anti-woman. They don't even want women to have things anymore by themselves. But in general, when you get to the right, a lot of people preach not being a victim, but they literally are a victim. So it's like dunking on the left isn't going to help you if you also have a victim mindset. That's my opinion. Which prophecy have you seen fulfilled specifically? I mean, I'm not one that likes to like guess moments in the Bible. Because I think you can. I'm not saying you can, but I feel like people get it wrong all the time. They're like, Bill Gates is the mark of the beast. Donald Trump is the mark of the beast. It's Elon Musk. It's this person. I was like, I don't know. We'll see it unfold. I haven't seen enough yet to really make a prediction. But people will be like, Trump is this biblical character. Bill Gates is this character. It's like maybe, but maybe not. I don't know. Someone said you're more interested in the entertainment factor, unlike Brendan Lee O'Connell, who speaks truth to power. You can say whatever you want, but at the end of the day, I truly believe, and this message that I'm saying is so important, but people don't want to believe it. You dunking on the elites doesn't matter if you're not doing anything in your own life. People like that. I don't even know who that person is, but it's like, he's really sticking. You want to stick it to power? Take control of your own life. Be the person that you pretend to be online. Do that. You don't want to do that? I'm dunking on the elites by watching YouTube videos. Not really. You know what I'm saying? It's not really doing that much. And I'm not saying not to watch YouTube or Facebook. It's good to gain information. It's good to research. It's good to learn. It's good to have hobbies. But at the end of the day, the best way that you could dunk on the elites is to like be a successful, happy person and do that. Where it's like, oh, he tells you the truth. If he's not telling you self-awareness and self-accountability, then how is that more powerful? The only way to fight the elites is to watch my channel and, just hear me complain about them. But, you don't have to do anything. You just have to watch me complain about them. That's not true. That's like, talking about the World Economic Forum. Cool. We all do it. Yeah, they're corrupt. But that's about, okay, now what? Someone said they buy our attention. It's good to point stuff out. It's good to research. It's good to learn. But to me, the most important thing is self-awareness and self-accountability. Some people don't think that, but all I'm asking is you don't do as much as this person. He really sticks it to them. Does he though? Maybe he does. But maybe, I hear people all the time and they're like, oh, he's the best truther. And I'm listening to him. It's like, he's angry. He's psychotic. He's not even accurate. It's like that's sticking it to the elites. I don't see it, but it is what it is. Someone said, just be happy and live life. That's going to help us win. I mean, I don't know what you want me to tell you. Do you not think you living your life matters more than what you think about other things? You don't think that? You think it's more important to pay attention to other things and get upset at them than it is to actually live a happy, successful life? I don't believe it. Some people do believe that, though, and in my opinion, that's why politics is a mess. There's broken people on the left and broken people on the right, and people are less healthy than they've ever been, and people are more addicted to pills than they've ever been, and both sides are completely broken, and you have people on both sides who just mysteriously both sell vaccines, and they come in and tell you the way to really fix this country is to listen to me and give money to me and vote for me. And the people on the left, they believe the left, and the people on the right believe the right. But to me, at the end of the day, if you're a broken person, you got to fix yourself. Trump's not going to fix you. Biden's not going to fix you. And I'm not saying you're broken necessarily. I don't know you. Everybody's broken to some extent. I'm not making fun of people. I'm just saying that's the political trap, is you got all these people telling you, I'm the best truther, listen to me. But the truth is, your mindset, your energy, your life, that's what matters. That's absolutely what matters. If you have anger and hatred and emotion about that party, but you're not even taking care of business in your own life, to me, that doesn't really matter as much as taking care of business in your own life. Like, imagine if I was somebody who said, you know, it's so bad to be obese and it's the worst thing in the world, and I'm 800 pounds. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's not bad to be obese. I mean, there's health issues. It's bad to be too skinny. It's bad to be too fat, but it's also bad to be healthy physically and have a bad mindset. Nobody's perfect. Everybody has certain flaws. I don't eat perfectly, but it's like overall, you know, I speak about certain things, but it's like I always try to mix it with reality where it's like, I'm in good shape, but I could be in better shape. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a bodybuilder. I don't eat perfectly. So even though I talk about obesity in America, I also realize that I could also do a little more myself. If I become a bodybuilder to the fullest extent, then maybe I'll write a book about bodybuilding. But if not, I'm not really going to, you know, have such an angry opinion about it. It's like the country's absolutely too fat, just statistically, and there's too many pills people are on. And I don't take pills, so I talk about that. But I'm just saying in general, it's just nice to be like, well, also I could do a little better. But people are like, I don't need to do better. I just need to vote. That's what I'm saying is not the answer. Anomaly, he's the real deal because he tells me to be mad at the elites and I'm mad at this person and I'm bad. At the end of the day, you can fight all you want, but the real fight is you, yourself, your life. That's all I'm saying. Left wing, right? If people don't think that's how to fix the system, that's probably why the system is broken. You know what I'm saying? I'm not acting like I'm perfect. I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, I do need to focus on myself also. That's what my main goal is. If that bothers people, it's like, no, I don't. Should I just get morbidly obese, like never have any family and just tell people how to raise a family and how to fight the elites? Like, is that going to fight the elites? I don't think so. Maybe, but it's like, that's not my belief system. If other people are telling you that your life being happy and successful doesn't matter, and the only thing that matters is you like fighting other people, even though you're really fighting yourself, like, how is that going to fight the elites? I think half the reason that the elites have so much ease exploiting us is because we're so exploitable. You get what I'm saying? Broken people are easy to trick. So if a bunch of broken people are, you know, fighting over donkeys and elephants instead of fixing their own selves, the reason the donkeys and the elephants have so much ease exploiting you is because we're so easily exploitable. The best way to stop the elites from exploiting you is to fill the own gaps in your own flaws. Nobody's ever going to be perfect, but you absolutely can improve. If I look at myself from when I was 25 to now, in every way, I'm superior than I was, except younger. I'm stronger than I was. I'm wiser than I was. I'm more disciplined than I was. In every way, I'm a better person than I was in 25. Maybe there's some other things that I was better at then, but for the most part, I feel better. I'm healthier. I'm stronger. I'm wiser. I'm more disciplined. That's how we all should want to be, where it's like we all should be competing against ourselves. Like, let's be a little bit better than we were last year. That would be nice. A little bit wiser, whatever. No, that's not it. It's just we got to yell at the elites on social media. I don't see it that way. And I think people that do tell their audience that, they're being dishonest. You know what I'm saying? I think it's one of those things that people want you to rely on them because it benefits them. Like, for example, I need to preface it with this, and I'm not going to stay too long because I want to run. I appreciate people who watch me. I don't take it for granted. I'm so grateful that people care about me. They absolutely don't have to, and there's so many options out there. So I'm extremely grateful that people watch me and listen to me. I really am. No one has to do this, and you've made my life amazing, and I try to work hard every day to keep it going because I understand that this could be taken away from me at any second. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. On that note, even though there's times where I say, I think I'm right about this and they're wrong about this, for the most part, I'm trying to empower people personally. The truth is, you could stop watching me tomorrow, and if you get your life together or you're crushing it or you're already crushing it and you don't need my help and you've always been crushing it, you don't need me. You don't need my opinion. My opinion doesn't matter. My news analysis doesn't really matter. You can go and live your life and turn off your phone for 10 years and be fine. I don't need people dependent on me. For like some people, it's like, if you don't watch me, you can't fight the elites because I have the information. Like, it's not really true. So I try to earn people's respect and trust, and I try to earn people's entertainment by being funny and likable. But at the end of the day, you don't need me. You don't. And I know that. So I try to earn your attention through being valuable. There's a lot of people in media, left-wing or right-wing media, truthers, everything, that their whole shtick is basically like, you need me. You need what I'm saying. You need my information. You need this. And it's like people are getting scrambled and being like, I need this. Without this person, and they almost have you looking up to them like a god, basically like, he's going to tell me the Q fortune code, and without his theories, I'm done for. And in turn, it's like, it's messing people up a lot. And left-wing media does it, right-wing media does it, some truther media does it, where it's like, they have almost like a savior complex where they want you to feel like you need to listen to them because they get money from you being there. So it's like, without me, you're done. And it's like, it's not really how it is. So, at the end of the day, I think that I appreciate people's attention. I do think that my value is through my comedy when people laugh, my information, the fact that I do tell people to build themselves, because outside of my stream, that does matter more than listening to me. That's why I think I'm valuable. I try to earn it. But it's like, there's people that are doing better than me that never have to listen to me, and their life's going to be fine. So I think a lot of media does that. They play that game of like, I'm going to fight the elites. Just me. I will fight the elites by talking about the elites. And without my stream, the elites are going to run away. And it's like, maybe or maybe not. It's like, there's certain people that when I listen to them, I don't trust them. They're too angry all the time. They're too like, it's me or I don't know. It's like everybody likes something else, but a lot of these people that they're the real deal. And it's like, are they though? I don't know. I don't see it, but thank you, Amelia. I appreciate it. Someone said, I like your honest opinion. It's interesting to listen to. You do make me laugh. I like comedy. There's value to laughing. So, and my critiques of the right wing and stuff, I'm not trying to be a dick. It's just like, I'm objectively trying to figure out how in the world our party's supposed to have success if there's one guy who sells vaccines harder than Bill Gates that nobody's allowed to question, and he's just going to do the right thing even though he already didn't, but he plays the victim about everything he did and takes no accountability. I don't understand. Like, I don't see where that's going. But if people want to watch people that tell them that that's going to work, then that's fine. Maybe it will. I don't know. I just don't see it. And it's my channel. I get to say what I want. Jesse said, haven't laughed once. Jesse, my friend, you've been complaining or slightly annoyed with me for a long time, which is impressive because you've been here for at least 30 or 40 minutes. So despite not making you laugh, despite you being frustrated and annoyed with me the entire time, you're still here. Like I say, I must be the best annoying person ever, because people will spend 50 minutes here complaining about being here as if it's like a mandated show that they can't click X on. Like I could even X myself right now. I could click the X button and this whole thing goes away. Like I kind of have to be here. I don't even have to be here. You definitely don't have to be here. I'm glad you are. But this idea that like I'm forcing you to be here is not the case. And I'm not even this type of person that says you have to listen to me. You actually really don't. Yeah, I do have strong opinions about something, but you don't have to listen to me at all. If you're happier somewhere else, I would hope that you go there because I want you to be happy. I do think that that's important. I'm not someone, if you click X on me now, you'll never find joy in your life. It's like you probably will. And hopefully you find someone else that gives you what you need. Mandatory viewing under terms of parole. I wouldn't wish that on the world. Tell me more about Presler. Well, I'm going to end on this note. I just know Scott, and I'll try to get him on the show soon, and I'm going to take off. Thank you guys for being here. God bless you. Appreciate you. Thank you, Jesse. And I know the government can be oppressive. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying have a good weekend. Enjoy yourself. Make the most of your life, and have as much fun as you possibly can. Don't let them, you get what I'm saying? Don't let the pressure from other people bother you, because then they win. You win by enjoying your life. But anyway, Scott Presler, say what you want about the guy. He isn't playing the victim right now, and he has a lot of clout in the GOP. I appreciate that Scott's not playing the victim. He's like, we can win, but we're not going to at this rate, not because they're going to steal it from us, because we're not doing the work. We can't sit and say we're the victim of the 2020 election and there's no chance. Then give up. Then get out of politics and give up if you think that. If you don't think that, then join the game. Figure out how to strategically play chess. So Scott's actually talking about this while everyone else is like, we're the victim. Scott's like, we're not the victim. I'm looking at what the GOP is doing. They're not making the right moves. The Democrats are running circles around us. And I think it's an important conversation to bring not just to my page, but to everybody. Because in order to win in 2024, we can't just cry. Like, we got to play chess. If there's a chess game going on, either play chess or don't. If you don't want to play, don't play. But if you're going to play and talk about politics and be involved in it, then we gotta have a convo about it. So I like what he was saying on Twitter, and I want to bring him on the show. Appreciate you guys. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. No matter how annoyed or upset you got at me today, have a good weekend. And I think that's more important than political disagreements. Enjoy yourself, and I'll be back probably tomorrow, but I really should take a break. I think I've done 10 in a row, 10 live streams, 10 days of work, and I'm doing articles, and I'm working on another business, and I'm taking business calls. And I've been in the zone recently. And the reason I go so hard when I can is because I know eventually life is like waves. Like, there's some days where I have the energy and and I could do 10 days of work in a row and 10 streams and 10 this, and then there's other days where I can't. So I have to eventually just like chill out. So while I'm riding the wave, I got to go, but there's probably going to be a couple of days where I just don't have the energy. So while it's going, it's going, but maybe I'll take a break. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one. I'll be back soon. Hey, what's going on, my friends? Just a few ways to stay in touch and support if you'd like to. The first way is dreamrare.com. We have blue beanies, black beanies, pink hats, other colored hats, freedom versus tyranny shirts, stay blessed long sleeve, God is great long sleeve, and lots of more cool items coming soon. Dreamrare.com. Check out the shop to support. Everything's made in the United States. Handpicked by me. Patreon.com/raretalk for $5 a month. You can help support me, support the show. If you haven't noticed, unlike other channels, I don't work with very many sponsors, sometimes none at all. And part of the way I'm able to do that is with the dreamrare.com shop and patreon.com/raretalk. So thank you guys for keeping this show free, unimpeded, uninterrupted. I'm forever grateful. My free email list is stayintouchwithme.com. So check the links below in the description, or just type in on any browser, stayintouchwithme.com, all one word. You'll find my email list, put it in there, and it's the least annoying email list you'll ever be on. I barely use it because I don't like getting emailed every day or every week. It's annoying. so I don't do it. StayInTouchWithMe.com. It helps me take back some power away from big tech. Telegram, t.me/DreamRareChat or @DreamRareChat. Due to censorship, I post all my live stream and videos there. Sometimes I have some bonus content, and I try to give people a heads up when Facebook or YouTube won't. DreamRareChat at Telegram. My Instagram is @DreamRare. Thanks for everybody following there for shorter content. And DreamRareLinks.com, that's DreamRareLinks.com, has all my stuff. My podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, my music on Spotify and Apple, my Rumble page, my BitChute and Gab page. All my links are found at DreamRareLinks.com. Thanks for watching, folks. God bless you. You already know I'll be back with more content soon. Appreciate you.